Hi YouTube. Um, I'm talking here because I have nowhere to go anymore other than just in my own head because I cut off every ounce of support I've created for myself because I started believing in a doubt inside of me that was just saying it's a hoax, it's a trick, you're not actually powerful. Lol. It's probably not true. But that's probably like not what I was actually thinking. But I think that's what I'm going off of at the moment because it's the first thing that came to my head. Um yeah, for some reason I suddenly started thinking that maybe I was wrong all along. Before I found this YouTube channel that changed my life in a way that I chose to have changed my life, I already had changed my life so much. I already became a very, very confident person from someone who used to doubt everything about herself despite knowing deep within that I'm worth it. So I focused on just those points of being worth it and bringing those good points to the forefront. That's all I did with confidence and ease. Eventually, I could master everything. I could socialize with anyone from anywhere, anyhow, whatever mood I was in lots of different ways, depending on how I was feeling, what was going on, always with a smile, always with a charm. I knew how to present myself. I knew how to ace the test. I knew how to do stuff. All I had to do was just keep going that way with every single area of my life, like business, music, aspirations, all these things. I was starting to really branch out until the day that I just chose to feel betrayed by my dad and then just block the planet out of my body, and then I became tremendously ill and it stayed that way. Just became worse and worse for months and months, and then after a few severe months I started being able to, recover little by little, with the help of some placebo tips and all that. Not even placebo, but reality, that you can change your reality. So placebo is basically just a code word for change your mind, change your life, you know? Sometimes it is a little trick, but a lot of the times things that people brush off as placebo is actually the law of attraction. It's how this world works. How you play the world's system. So I really had a hold on and of a lot of these structures. I'd already worked through the entire system, from when you're a child to an adult, and I worked my way up, and I knew how to control my surroundings and everything. And for some reason, when I became very ill, I started thinking that maybe I was wrong all along, even though I got so many rewards from my hardships. I got so many rewards. I could finally have a happy world where everybody is doing exactly as I would like them to. And that may come across as selfish to my ego self for some reason, but actually that's not selfish. If I only want what's best for everyone in the world, and then if that want is satisfied, then that's a peaceful world, isn't it? So why would I start doubting myself? You know why? Because the reason I became ill was because I doubted myself. Out of every joy I had in my life that I worked through, there was still one side of me that was doubting myself. And it was because I was holding so strongly onto this one false belief. And I knew I was doing that. I was doing it on purpose because I wanted to achieve this one ego trip before I finally let go of all of that, so that I can satisfy her childhood story, my childhood story. I was trying to achieve one last thing: hope for the me that tried so hard as a kid. I wanted to show her you can achieve what you've been wanting to achieve. Not just the good stuff, but also the shadow stuff. And I think I forced that shadow stuff too much at home. That's why I had this terrible experience at home. Meanwhile, the rest of my life was perfect. Like, obviously, even throughout all my perfection and all that on the outside, I still had certain worries and certain anxieties and doubts to get over, but they were just normal ones. They were no longer like ridiculous ones that would take a hold over me. It was rather just normal thoughts I had that I could overcome eventually. And plus, they were only existing still to that point, even to the point I even need to think about it, because I was still holding on to that one problem in my life. And it's not even a real problem. Nothing's even a problem. Everything is a problem. Like, it's a situation. But, problem sounds negative. It's not even a bad thing, It's not even negative. It's not even negative. Because, it's a shadow self. La la la. All I have to do is embrace it. And just overcome the obstacles that were there. But I tried to do something forceful that would face the obstacle in a way that might trigger it off. But I was trying to do it in that way where I would do something that would potentially trigger them off, but they wouldn't trigger. I was trying to achieve that for my childhood self so that she can feel like, oh wow, like you don't have to do whatever they say all the time anymore. You can do it your way. I was trying to really, really achieve my freedom in this way and do it in a really extreme way so that all of my 18 years plus, up to my childhood to adulthood, first year of adulthood, age 18, I'm above 18, of course, right now in age. But yeah, up all of my 18 years of struggle would be poofed. It would be evened out all of a sudden. I just wanted to do it that way first for the illusion of calming myself. I wanted to calm my ego first and then let go of everything. Even though I knew I could still just let go of everything and my ego would find its peace on the other side anyway, once I move past that test and I move up permanently up to a higher frequency. When I say permanently, I mean, you've actually overcome it. It's not just you're trying to, because sometimes when you move up a frequency while doing a certain action, like it's more of a hope. It's like an investment, and that's why you get up there. But if you don't upkeep it, you can always go back down. But when you've actually overcome it, it's after you learned everything, and then you took all of it up easily, that the only way you would go back down is due to sabotage. And that's exactly what I was doing. Despite knowing so much all my life, this is pretty much with a lot of people, I guess, who have a soul like mine. Yeah, despite knowing a lot, I was presenting myself in a way as if I knew much less, because I wanted to be sure of myself. Even though I was already sure on the inside, I wanted to create that reassurance for my physical self. That's why they say your life is up to you. It's your choice. You can just head on up if you want, or you can experience all the filler stories at the same time and feel really achieved. It's kind of like playing a game and you have the main story, but then you have a lot of like side stories and a lot of gallery pictures or like little mini games or whatever, like items, special items to like unlock and things like that. For me, I want the whole deal. I don't want to just play the main story. That's why I keep myself in a way down, or more like out rather than just up. Keep myself out, looking around. I'm spreading my arms out right now, like looking around my surroundings, taking it all up with me, so that it's not just about me, it's about the world. And now I realize this was due to me wanting to genuinely benefit everything, that I was doing it in a way where it would benefit every other person who has the same soul as me. Well, obviously our souls are different, but, the the origins are the same as mine, as me, of me, ha ha ha. So, that's what I realize now. And yet, because of all these beliefs, I still believed in one part of me that I was yet to be good enough, even though I've always been more than good enough, more than capable enough. Sometimes you have to admit that you don't think you're good enough. And that's not putting yourself down. It's letting your shadow self being heard. But I keep going around in circles, coiling everything up all the time. And I should have been ready to let go when it came time that I really just needed to let go. But I just wanted to hold on one last time. And I was so good at everything else now that I wanted to just take control of this one side of me that I always, felt like saying this to. Like, you know what? I've always wanted to say this to you. Like, this type of thing to a part of myself. And because I was holding on to it too long in a non-beneficial way, I ended up freaking accidentally on purposely-ish, but still accidentally-ish because my intent was still good, but I knew I was doing something bad, but I still wanted it to be good. To prove the impossible to me, I ended up sabotaging my whole life. Well, not my whole life, my health. But that ended up being my whole life because you need your avatar, your body, to be well enough to be able to do something in order to live this life and make use of it. But I actually felt like I became a vegetable cabbage. Despite that, I tried so hard to stay strong and just positive. And then I ended up changing my mindset so many times in a way that's actually too draining and too much of a hardship for a human person. No matter how big your true self is, your source, energy, whole big cell world is, this is a body, this is a human. And I brought so much hardship to her. And it's just ridiculously impossible. Just the fact that I thought I could do this alone. And I cut all my support network off. Because I started doubting myself. So I started listening to others' advices, like in QC's YouTube channel, when I listened to her videos again when I was really ill. It sounded different from when I was healthy. When I was healthy and everything was going right, except for that one part of me inside of me, that conflict. A lot of us have a conflict that we live with, but we're still able to, brush it off and do our work, brush it off and do our studies, brush it off and hang out with friends and be happy for that time and go back to it later. But I was unable to do that when I was ill. It was just everywhere because that very thing is what I was focusing on and therefore exploded all over my body and therefore my whole body was weak. Therefore, that's what I was experiencing everywhere. Whatever I was doing is what I thought. I could still escape if I was with friends, but I think I just didn't even want to do that anymore, so I cut them all out. And that's because, going back to how I'm translating the video I'm watching, when I was watching QC's videos, before I was ill, I was like, yep. I took it with a grain of salt because I knew what she was saying. I didn't get every single literal detail, but I knew what she was saying. So I was just like, and as for the detail part, it's because obviously when you're on your journey, you probably won't know every single literal detail until you get there. So at that time, I was fine, content. I was in my now perfectly. And ironically, being yeah, is more empowerment in the now than when you're being obsessively focusing on the words she's saying and trying to get it done, That's being low. It's not being an empowerment. It's being like as if you're lesser than you are. It's a slave-like approach. And that's what I did after I became ill, because I was doubting myself due to the fact my illness was caused from my doubt, being overpowered and over-energized to the max. I over-maxed out the max. So that's why when I watched her videos, I started doubting everything that I'd ever done. I thought my confidence was stupidity. I thought my easygoingness that I'd finally achieved after 10 long years of working so hard on it, starting from age 13. No, it was less than 10 years at the time that I was watching this, when I was ill. Wait, no, what? Like 12. But anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, not sorry. I am fine with it, aren't I? Yes. So, yeah, when I was watching her videos, I was starting to think, yeah, I need to change everything about me. Everything. I shouldn't have done that. I needed to still own me. That's exactly what she was talking about. That's exactly what she was saying. She said, don't listen to me. Ask yourself. And I wasn't even asking myself anymore. I was just going around in loops, creating a problem. I ended up removing things from my life that were actually what I worked all my life on achieving. Steady friendships. I removed all my friends all at once because I was scared they'll turn into zombies. I won't say the word. It might trigger my brain. No, just kidding. But, see, I was doubting everything. I wasn't even scared of anything the year before that. Like, I was only at a frequency level 5, and I was so neutral compared to what I was in when I was frequency level 6 to 9. Because I wasn't even owning myself anymore. But despite that, I could move up the frequencies because I just started acknowledging things that I already knew. I mean, that was going to come to me anyway. Why did I let go of my ego so easily? Not ego, what is this? All my friends and all my freedom, my confidence. But you know what? Perhaps that is the reason why I am yet to be at frequency level neutral zones 10 and 11, because I let go of that confidence part of me, the owning part of me, the projecting reality part of me, because I thought that was my ego. But in her latest video, she says what I knew all along, but I was just doubting it. Which is that you have to project what you want onto the world for people to give you what you want. And that's what I had mastered. But for some reason, I thought it was my ego when I was ill and I was watching her videos. And I came across a video that said, where she said, oh, you can't have more than 2 or 3 friends. I mean, that's all for your ego. And I had like so many friends because I just love people. And I was always looking for someone like me. And now I realize what that is. And I found them on Instagram. Well, first on Twitter. And ironically, like, all my friends, all my beautiful soulless friends that I made, like, I cut them all out and then freaking only talk to those people online, like the SPs just like me. And then I ended up feeling very, like, claustrophobic with lockdown and all that as well, and moving to a freaking whole new town away from my hometown. Just cutting everybody I even knew off and just talking to these groups of people online. Even though they're real, even though I know that they're wonderful, it's kind of like in a human story kind of way. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're not living anymore. I wasn't doing anything except just talking to people on Instagram. I wasn't living my life. I wasn't seeing friends. I wasn't doing anything really. Like, I was making money, obviously, but none of that matters to me. It has to be in a way that I like. And I just threw it away, like my mindset. The owning myself mindset was freaking twisted because I thought even the way I owned it was wrong. I thought I had to do it in some cookie cutter perfect way because I was so ill, and I was like, there's no way I should be ill if I did all of those things right so far. I was wrong. I was misled. I did do all those things right. That's why I was still happy. And the reason I became ill was only because of that one dark part of me that I held on to in a non-beneficial way. There's nothing wrong with your darkness. I'm the one who always knew this. I'm the one who always stood by the shadow self so much since I was a child. And I was so aligned, which is why my nose looked so perfectly aligned before I started breaking myself, and my nose started breaking, and my whole appearance has changed. Like, I went from platinum gold to freaking rusty coal, if that makes sense. Like, not even joking. So I'm going to just leave this for now. Leave this here. And, thank you for listening to my diary. I have been keeping so much inside for so long, a year and a half. It's just crazy. Naturally, I would have spread all this information throughout my life. But I cut off all my support network because I thought all my friends were for my ego. Even though it wasn't. Even though it was only one part of me that was projecting it there for beneficial purposes. But I was treating it like dirt because I ended up somewhere I didn't want to be. But that's fine. It's totally understandable and relatable. I'm empathetic. I'm going to be that way again. I'm going to be totally empowered and chill again. I won't worry anymore. It'll be all good. I'm going to make my moolah. I'm going to make my day, make my life, make my friends happy. I started messaging people again, like a lot of them, and I'm going to start hanging out with them and having fun. Obviously, I still had a couple closer friends to hang out with every now and then, but now I'm going to really spread my wings and hang out with whoever, and just like fly out and like do my thing and present to the world.